This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web.
Window daydream numbs my mind. Turn on the lights. I'm still blind. Speed up, slow down. Wheels keep on spinning. I play the game. I'm not winning. I've been east, I've been west, I've been put to the test. I've been high, I've been low, I don't know where to go. I've been lost, I've been found, I've been spinning around. Here's what's left of me now.
My bad. Welcome, everybody, to Into the Weeds podcast here on Military Broadcast Radio. I'm Amber.
And I'm Laura.
And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. I've got bad allergies and my eyes are super dry and I've been coughing. So I've just got my avatar on today and Laura went along with it.
Yeah, I figured I would I'm sure a lot of people listen to our show rather than watch our show. That's kind of what I do with any long form content. But if you happen to be watching, I always get confused if more than one person is on like one avatar. So you can kind of see me and you can see like that I'm talking. So I don't know. Anyway.
Well, I'm glad you changed your avatar.
Oh yeah. I if anyone else has seen the avatar that I used to have. Yeah, yikes. Anyway.
Well, we had a really great week. My sisters had been in town for the last couple of weeks. And and I hadn't seen them. Well, I had seen my older sister recently, but my younger sister I hadn't seen in quite a few years. So it was really great to just be around her again and to get to know her a little bit more. And just, it's been a long time. So I'm very thankful for it.
Yeah, definitely. It was nice having them in here. I've had a pretty decent week too. A couple hard things, but you know what? We keep moving. We keep moving. I almost wasn't here tonight. I thought I bought tickets to a drag show, y'all, and I thought it was tonight, but it turns out it's tomorrow, which because of that, I like totally missed out on buying these tickets. To a haunted ghost tour, like overnight expedition at the Capitol in Missouri, at Missouri State Penitentiary. And I wanted to go to that so freaking bad, but I missed it. So
Yeah, we were scrambling around trying to see if they were if they had any extra tickets or anything, but we didn't see anything.
yeah, I messed up on my days. And then tomorrow I was supposed to go to this Earth Day celebration, but unfortunately, it got rained out, I think. So they canceled it. So
Yeah.
all
Well,
over the place this week.
yeah, and I was in Springfield all day yesterday, so the allergies are even worse because we were driving through the country. So, yeah, that's why I'm just feeling so cruddy.
I have a raging headache right now. So
Well, I hope you feel better.
I hope you feel better. But anyway, let's get on into
Yeah,
into
actually,
the topic for tonight.
yeah, before we get into the main topic tonight, I did want to bring your attention to the fact that the Jane Doe known as Peaches from the Long Island serial killer case,
Yes.
she has been identified, and she happens to be an Army veteran. So I just wanted to read something out about her, and I would like to say a whole lot more, but every time I get into it, I start crying. So hopefully I don't cry. And it, it really does take a lot for me to cry about something. So
Oh no, you cry over commercials. Don't even.
yeah, but
Not as
I
much
kind
as
of,
recent.
yeah,
Grew out of it.
yeah. Okay, so Peaches and her daughter were found in different locations in New York. And so I'm just going to read this. So, one important aspect of Tanja Jackson's life and a key reason to honor her is her service in the United States Army. She served in the U.S. Army from July 93 to February of 95. This was roughly a 2-year period, and it came just after the first Gulf War. She was an Army veteran of the early 1990s era. She served as a signal support system specialist, which is a communications role, ensuring radio and signal equipment function. She trained at and was stationed on 3 different bases during her service: Fort Sam Houston in Texas, Fort Gordon in Georgia, and Fort Leonard Wood in Missouri. Fort Gordon is known for Signal Corps training, which aligns with her role, and Fort Leonard Wood is used for basic training and support training. Fort Sam Houston is an Army medical training base, but also home to other units. It's possible she had an assignment or training there as well. Official reports did not publicly specify Tanya's official rank, but she has been described as having attained the rank of private first class, so an E3. And this is consistent with someone who served around 18 months to 2 years. So we're not sure exactly. We do not have explicit confirmation of her discharge status or any commendation she earned. However, the fact that Tanja was buried in a veterans cemetery with full military honors strongly implies that she was honorably discharged from the Army. It's likely she received the standard awards for service in that era. After leaving the Army in 95, Tanja transitioned back to civilian life. By 1997, she was living in Brooklyn, New York as a single mother. Investigators believe she may have worked as an assistant in a medical office in Brooklyn in the mid-90s, suggesting she was using either medical training or seeking a stable job to support her young daughter. This detail indicates Tanja was striving to build a life and a career after her military service, possibly leveraging skills she learned during her training. She was described by police as a hardworking mom trying to provide for Tatiana, her daughter. It is also worth noting Tatiana was born in March of 1995 in Texas, which means Tanja most likely was still in the Army or was just leaving when she gave birth. And let's see. So her daughter was 2 years old, and her name was Tatiana. And so I just kind of wanted to read that brief outline of who she was as far as her military service is concerned. And I would encourage all of my veteran brothers and sisters to, go out there and find out more about her and let people know about her, because she's a fellow veteran, and it's a terrible way to have lost her life. So,
Well, I'm so glad that they identified her and her daughter, but it's just so heartbreaking to hear that they were like separated. And
yeah.
I don't know if that was, before or after the fact, but either way, you just hope that they would be closer together. So,
Yeah. Well, just the fact that they were both found in two separate killing grounds or dumping grounds is just so sad.
yeah, and that case is just so weird. And I really
Yeah.
hope that they get justice and full justice. I don't want to be too, conspiratorial here,
Yeah.
but man, I don't know. There's some weird things about that family too. And some of the pictures the daughter was drawing and stuff. And I don't know if that's because something, nefarious was going on, or I mean, other than the obvious, or
Hmm.
if it's just because she was exposed to unfortunate things and just kind of had it in her brain. I don't know. It's just weird.
Yeah. I have no idea about that, but I know what you're talking about. I would encourage anybody to who wants to know more about Tanja and her daughter Tatiana, Profiling Evil. That's a really good channel. They just did a good video on her, and so I would go check that out. So yeah, so we're going to move on to the Cash Road killings, and this is actually something that I have wanted to talk about for a long time. Hey, Hakab, it's good to see you. I
Hello.
I actually grew up in Lawton, Oklahoma. I was born and raised for the most part. I spent a little bit of time in my early teenage years in Springdale, Arkansas, but I was raised mostly in Lawton, Oklahoma. Hello, main chick Carrie. And so I just kind of wanted to start bringing this information to you. And this is just, you know, this is just an introduction to the Lawton serial killer. I am in no means saying that I know very much about this case. I just kind of wanted to present it to you because I am going to be having somebody on the show later, not today, but pretty soon. I think her name is, let me find it, Amanda Newland, and she is from Oklahoma Cold Cases Foundation or Society or something like that. Let's see, what was it? Oklahoma Cold Cases Incorporated. Okay. So it's a nonprofit, I can't speak today. It is a nonprofit corporation. I can't even speak.
You're not feeling good today, are
I
you?
know. I
That's
can't
okay.
speak.
Also, a big shout out to Main Chick Carrie. Thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for everybody that's tuning in tonight.
Oh, wow, I didn't even see that. Thank you so much, Main Chick.
We
That's
really
very kind
appreciate
of you.
it.
Okay, so, let me see.
I'll go straight into the FOIA fund.
Yes, it will be. Everything that we get here goes straight to the FOIA fund, and then when all that is covered, we will use it to go to, CrimeCon in Denver in September. So, it's
Which,
all
if
gonna go.
anybody's planning on going, we'll totally be down to meet y'all.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be fun. So, we're just gonna get into it, and I actually thought that I had scratched this, or actually had found as much as I could possibly find on the Lawton serial killer. I just happened to Google it today, and I couldn't find anything more. And then I went to Chat GPT, and I was like, let me just put it in and see if anything comes up. And so a thing called Swedinia project. Let's see. I'm going to show it to you. Hold on. Okay. This place. The Swedinia Project. They did a whole series on the Lawton serial killer. So I am in the process of listening to it all. I have listened to 4 episodes, but Mandy Raite is actually who I would actually like to honor today when we're talking about this, because Mandy Raite I went to high school with. I did not know her. I had a couple of classes with her, I believe. Specifically, I remember having a history class with her. And so I'll talk more about that when we get to her. But I just kind of wanted to introduce you to one of the places that I am going to be pulling some information from. So, excuse me. Okay. So let me go back to... Sorry, guys. Finding my notes, I went off on the wrong one. Okay, so like I said, the Lawton serial killer happens to possibly be linked to a couple of other ones, and we're not really sure. I'm just finding out all of this information within the last week when I actually started really diving into it. And actually, when I reached out to the Oklahoma cold case place, I was asking about the Lawton serial killer, the case of Michelle Crawford, and the case of Athena Hogan. Those were the 3 that I wanted to know about because I knew of Mandy Raite, and then I knew Michelle, and I knew the guy who found Athena. So those were the ones that I really wanted to hone in on to learn more about, because I had a personal, somewhat connection to them. So sorry about that. I haven't turned off my alerts. But the background of the Cash Road murders in Lawton, Oklahoma. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, a series of unsolved murders took place in Lawton, Oklahoma area, primarily involving women who frequented the Cash Road corridor. Lawton's Cash Road at that time was known for low-budget motels and undergoing an underground and drug and sex trade. And actually, kind of that whole town has that whole vibe. You know, depending on if you go down Cash Road or if you go down Fort Sill Boulevard, Lee, Sheridan, you know, there's lots of massage parlors, there's lots of bars, there's lots of places to find trouble. So,
No
and
offense to anyone watching that might be from or living in Lawton, but it's not a place that I enjoy being in for sure.
I always say that it's a great place to be from. It's not really a great place to live.
It's only a great place to be from if you got out, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I don't know. It seems like you, even through the bad things that happened to you or that you experienced while you were there, it seems like you have a more positive outlook, but I feel like a lot of other people might not.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can take the good with the bad, and you know, most everything I do is a learning experience, you know. So I have learned a lot, and I'm going to actually show everybody where I lived and show how close it is in proximity where these women were living, which is going to be interesting. Okay.
She laughs out of nervousness, not.
Yeah, sorry, I do. I laugh out of nervousness. I laugh when I don't know what to say or if I'm nervous. You should hear me on a roller coaster.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that's crazy.
Okay. So between 1999 and 2003, at least 5 women, sometimes referred to as the Cash Road Girls, went missing and were later found under similar circumstances. All of the victims were discovered nude and dumped in remote rural locations, often or near bodies of water such as creeks, ponds, or under bridge crossings. Investigators noted that each of the women had been involved in what they termed as high-risk lifestyle, including sex work and drug use, and the toxicology found cocaine and other narcotics in their systems. Due to the pattern of the crimes, authorities believe these murders were the work of a serial killer operating around Lawton's Cache Road. The case remains one of Oklahoma's most notorious cold cases, sometimes called the Lawton serial killer case. Cobb says she's a nervous laughter. They are a nervous laughter as well. They have nervous laughter as well. Sorry, I'm having a hard time getting any words out of my mouth today.
You're doing great. No worries.
Okay. So actually, I'm going to read off. No, actually, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to show you where I lived. Okay, so.
Unfortunately, this house is no longer standing. It got torn down, what, like 2015, 2016?
Yeah, somewhere around there. My mom passed away in 2015. So, this is 1508 Northwest Ferris. This is the house that my father and mother bought when I was approximately 4 years old. And I lived in this home technically all the way until I was 19 years old and went into the Army. Now, I would go back and forth between my mother and father's house whenever they were divorced. So, and my dad lived for a little bit in Lawton after they got divorced, and then he moved to Arkansas. So, this is the house
Did he
that I
not live
lived
in
in.
Arizona for a little bit too? Or
Yeah, he did. Yeah, but that was later on when I was a older teenager, 17, 18.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And this house in particular, I mean, I always felt a great heaviness walking into it. I'm
Oh,
not trying to, pinpoint it as paranormal or anything like that, but it's unfortunately also the place where before you guys moved in, someone had passed away, correct?
yeah, the house was built in 1924, and somebody had passed away before we had moved in, correct?
And then also her stepfather had passed away in the home. And then in 2013, her brother passed away in the home. So this is
Correct.
just kind of a heavy place. It's a lot. It's a
Yeah,
lot.
which it's no longer there.
It's no longer there, but every time we go to Lawton, we drive past and we look
Mhm.
at the lot, which is really unfortunate. Really
Mhm.
unfortunate.
Yeah, so I'm just going to show you guys how close I was to where most of these women actually lived. So we're going here. This is Ferris Avenue. This was actually a pretty busy road. So now we're going to turn down this road, and I think this is 16th Avenue. Let me see. I'm going to try and see. Wait, I want to go this way. Okay. Actually, if you want to see the alley behind my house, which was a creepy thing too.
And it was like the street right behind your house, correct? Where Athena Hogan was selling candy bars.
No.
No?
No. Complete opposite side of the town.
Then what were we checking out whenever we went like right behind? Or is that
We
something you
were
don't want to share?
checking out a house that I had always felt sketchy about when I was out selling candy bars.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going down 16th Avenue. Hopefully. And okay. Why did that put me back? Okay, I'm trying to go this way. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to figure this out. Okay, so
Google Earth is hard for me. Sometimes you see the
going.
little car going by. I wonder if there's any pictures of us on Google Earth.
Who knows? Okay, so I'm just going down 16th Street just to kind of show you how close I lived in proximity to where most of these women lived. Because I think it's kind of important. After I started thinking about it today, I was like, oh, dang, that was really close to my house. Okay, so. Sorry, I know it's taken a while, but I figure we're just going to go on a field trip of Lawton. Okay. I'm just going to go down.
Look at all the
here.
beautiful dead trees and all of the gray grass.
Okay, we're going to go down here a little more. Oh, wait, am I going the wrong way again? Yeah, I am. Okay.
You got this, champ.
Okay, here's Whittier Elementary School. Oh, what the heck? Okay, Whittier Elementary School is right up here. Am I going the right way? Yeah, I am going the right way.
You're just doing this from memory?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I wonder if there's a way that you can plug in different coordinates and it takes you without you having to do it manually.
Yeah, you can, but I just wanted to show everybody how close it was. I mean, it's not that far. So you have been, okay, so let me go up further. Okay, so this is the gas station at 16th and Cash Road.
They make keys at the gas station?
That's been there forever. That's across the street. So that place has been there since I have been alive in some form or fashion. Okay. So this is Cash Road. And there is the Sunrise and Shine Grill. They make really good breakfast there. Okay.
Or they did 20 years ago.
They still do, from what I understand. And there is the Sheridan Inn.
Wow.
So just a few blocks. I mean, within 10 blocks, I would say.
Is this where her life was taken or where she was staying?
No, these are where most of the women who were involved in this case lived.
Oh, wow. A lot of them lived in the inn, so a lot of them were struggling with homelessness as well.
So I wanted to actually show you guys just how bad it is. Okay, so we're just starting at the Sheridan Inn, 16th and Cash. And we're going to go down here, and I'm just going to show you all of the different inns that are like this down here. So we got the Sheridan Inn. And then we go a little further up here. And we got some other inn right here. What is this? There's like 2 different inns. Now, I have stayed at the Sheridan Inn before with my father, and then I've also stayed at this inn here, whatever this is called. Relax Inn. I've stayed at that one with my dad when he would come to visit us from Arkansas. So there's lots of inns. See, there's some more. But there's a whole bunch of inns just all down the street. And so all of these women were staying in either the Sheridan Inn or one of these down here towards Fort Sill Boulevard, or the opposite way towards Sheridan Road.
It's so sad how people that are struggling with homelessness and addictions, or people that are, sex workers and stuff, are so often the people that are taken advantage of. It's like people see them in this rough spot and then just take advantage of it, do whatever they want with them. It just, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's just really hard. Really hard to hear that.
Yeah. And I mean, there's so many of them here because of the military town. You know, there's so many people in and out, the traffic from the truck drivers, and just so much traffic, you know, and there's pawn shops all over the place, and there's all kinds of things, you know. So I don't know. I just wanted everybody to see that. That's my hometown of Lawton, Oklahoma. That's where I grew up. And yeah, it's like they are disposable, main chick carry. Very much so. And okay, so let me go back.
Which they're not, no matter who you are, there's someone that loves and cares about you out there.
Correct.
And even if you feel like there's nobody, there's somebody that will.
Mm-hmm. And I'm actually going to...
Just because you're in a rough spot now doesn't mean you always will be. And sex work is real work. That's just my 2 cents.
Mhm.
But so yeah, no, the Cash Road, I've definitely been down that road before.
Yeah. Yeah, you've actually been to that gas station.
I'm sure I have. I just remember one of your aunts specifically spelling out cash when I was little. I think there was, I don't remember why we had to go there, and I was like, oh, that's cash. I thought it was something else.
Yeah, cachet.
Cash or
Yeah.
cake or something.
Hey, Shorty Pie. Yeah, so this is the website, Oklahoma Cold Cases. And this is the website of the woman that we are going to be speaking to whenever we reschedule it, because she was actually supposed to be on a week or two ago. And so we had to reschedule it. So these are the victims. We've got Cassandra Ramsey, Mandy Raite, Janice Buono, Pamela Woodring, Jane Chafton, Rebecca Walden, Barbara Berry, and Anastasia Running Wolf. Now, Barbara Berry and Anastasia Running Wolf, I believe, are not confirmed as being part of the Lawton serial killer, but there is enough evidence to show that if it's not one serial killer, it's several serial killers using the same kind of methods. And
What's the, well, first of all, would you mind zooming in on some of these pictures just to, I mean, I'm sure a lot of these people aren't seen very often.
let me see if I can figure out how to do that.
Also, what was the killer's MO? What
Yeah, so we're gonna get into that. I don't even know how to make that. Usually I would just
do I need to come downstairs?
No, you're good. No, I can't make it bigger right now. So
Gotcha. Okay. Well, rest in peace to all these victims.
Yes. So as I said, 5 women are confirmed as victims in the Lawton serial murder case. And there is a 6th woman with a possible victim link, but there's also several others that could be. But we're going to get into Jane Marie Chafton. That would be, let me see. That would be her right here in the middle. Jane Marie Chafton. Okay. Last seen in early August 1999, her nude body was found that month floating in Sandy Bear Creek in Stephen County, near Lawton, Oklahoma. It's northeast of Lawton, and she's considered the first in the series of murders. So Cash runs from Lawton all the way into Cache, Oklahoma, and on further, you know, out towards the mountains and everything. So, There's lots and lots of land out there. And I'm actually not going to get specifically into each one's case tonight, but we eventually will once we speak to the person from the Cold Case Foundation. But so then Cassandra Lee Ramsey, 25, disappeared from Lawton, Oklahoma, October 10th, 1999. Her body was discovered 5 months later under a rural bridge along a road in Jefferson County. Like the others, she was found nude. Some reports incorrectly listed Ramsey as age 35, but records indicate that she was in her mid-20s. And then we have, did I show you Cassandra Ramsey? Okay, let me look. Cassandra Ramsey is this one right here at the top. And then
From my screen, I can even tell who you're trying to say. Is it on the right or the left?
Cassandra Ramsey is the top left.
Top left. Okay.
Yeah. Janice Jane Chafton is in the middle here in the black and white, more close up. And yeah, let's see. Okay, we got Mandy Ann Raite, vanished from Lawton around June 14th, 2000. 2 or 3 days later, on June 17th, 2000, her body was found in a creek bed in Comanche County. Initially, a local sheriff thought her death might be an overdose as a high level of cocaine was present, but OSBI agents now treat her case as part of the homicide pattern. So Mandy is the one here in the middle on the top, and she is the one that I went to high school with. And we are actually going to listen to the episode from, what is it? Sweetie Anna Project about Mandy, because I want you guys to know more about her. And they did a really good job and found more than I could find. So we're going to do that.
I'm gonna try to leave not as much dead air while you're looking for it.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're okay.
Is it not playing?
No, it's not.
Oh, it
Nothing's
wasn't?
playing.
Oh,
Nope.
okay.
I can't hear anything. If anyone in chat wants to chime in, but I can't hear anything.
Do you guys hear that?
I heard like it kind of sounded like static or something like that, but yeah. If anyone in chat has any input.
Okay, let's see if it plays now.
Sweetie Anna Project.
Can you hear it?
Episode number
I can hear it, yeah.
Okay, awesome.
4, I believe. We're going to be covering Mandy Ann Raite, who was 21 years old at the time of her death. Christina, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I can't complain, I guess. Even if I did, I don't think anybody'd listen. So
I complain a lot too.
on this one.
So
Thank
Mandy
you,
Ann
guys.
Raite, she came from a military family with both of her grandparents serving in the Navy, and her family was eventually stationed in Lawton, Oklahoma, where she was born on September 17th in 1978. She had one child and actually had a subsequent child that she had given up for adoption. She wanted to be an artist and drew characters for her child while undergoing drug rehab treatment.
So Mandy, like I said, she went to high school with me. I went to Lawton High School, and we were the home of the Wolverines, Hanta Yo. And I didn't know her, but like I said, she was in a couple of my classes, specifically in my history class, I believe in the 11th grade, maybe. The main thing I remember about Mandy is that she was quiet. She was intimidating because she walked around as though she could definitely carry herself. She definitely tried to blend in, but stood out. Not for any other reason than she was very guarded, is what I would think. She seemed very nice from everything I could understand. And I think the most interaction I had was like passing a paper back and forth or something to do with some kind of project, but I don't really remember much. I remember that she wore blue jeans and she always wore a white t-shirt. And it usually was a V-neck t-shirt, I believe, if I remember correctly. And she had short brown hair, like in the picture. And she always had her head down and her hair was covering her eye. So that's the most I remember about Mandy. I did go on my Facebook and ask people from high school if anybody had anything that they would like to add, but nobody has said anything so far. Hopefully somebody will.
That's sad.
Yeah, hopefully somebody will listen to this though and tell
Have
us
something
something
nice
more.
to say about any of the victims.
Yes, any of them, but I'm just surprised since I know so many people that I know knew Mandy that no one has reached out yet. So we're going to continue listening to this.
Unfortunately, she'd fallen in with a rough crowd and suffered from drug addiction.
Yeah, she was also a known sex worker who worked the streets of Cash Road, and like you had mentioned, she did have a pretty bad drug habit, but she also wanted to get clean. So when you had mentioned the drug rehab, she had gone multiple times because, like I said, she just wanted to get clean. But because of the circumstances around her life and the fact that when she would get out of rehab, she would have the same friends and she kept falling back into that same pattern of her everyday life as soon as she would get out of rehab. At the time of her death, she was living at the Sheridan Inn with her boyfriend. The Sheridan is located at the northwest corner of Sheridan and Lee Boulevard. She did have some ties to Cotton.
Now, I don't know why he said Lee Boulevard. He got that wrong because I showed you guys where Sheridan Inn was. Because
Yeah,
Cash
it's on
and
Cash.
yeah, because Cash and Lee are completely different streets.
No,
So.
it's just been a mix-up.
Oh, and by the way, to all of my people in Lawton who are watching this right now, I am praying for you guys with the flooding. It's really bad right now. My cousin Brandy's house is
Ooh.
being flooded right now.
Oh wow, it's just a lot of rain, a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so before I forgot that, okay.
County. She had family that lived in Walters, Oklahoma as well. And she was planning on moving to Texas with her boyfriend at the time.
So she seemed to be very close to her mother. And while she had gone missing, it did not take long for people to notice because she talked to her mom every day. So on June 9th of 2000 was the last day she was seen by her mother. And June 11th, she talked to her grandfather and she asked him to stay at his house, but she never did arrive there. On the 11th, her boyfriend was also arrested. He was AWOL from the military, and she had turned him in after they had gotten into an argument. On the 14th of June, she was last seen by a friend at the Sheridan Inn where she'd been staying, and her body was found 3 days later on June 17th, 2000.
When she
So, yeah, that is.
Wow, she turned her boyfriend in for going AWOL after an argument. Oh my goodness.
Oh, you'd be surprised what.
Iconic. No.
Yeah, that's classic. Actually, when I was looking at Sheridan Road, it reminded me. Let me go back to it. It reminded me of when I was in the 7th grade and I went to a slumber party. I'm not going to bust people out on the name of who it
Oh,
was.
maybe you don't elaborate on what was going on at that slumber party. You're not showing the house, are you?
Well, I'm not showing the house. I'm just showing the area.
Okay, because
So
if it's what I'm
Sheridan,
thinking of, yeah,
yeah, it is,
I
but
wouldn't share that.
I'm just going to share a little bit. Okay, so it was in this area. So right here at this intersection, we went to. I had gone to a slumber party somewhere in this area, and I was in the 7th grade, and I remember showing up, and it was all of the. I think they were they were the popular kids, and I don't remember. Okay,
It's
so
very sad. It's
it's
not
very sad.
that
Okay, so I was probably 13. Yeah, I would have been 13 at this time. And
and
so
you were older too, right?
I
Because you
was. I
were
was. I
yeah.
was a year older than everybody because I had gotten held back in the 4th grade for math, and that's why I have math trauma. But anyways.
So do I feel you.
So yeah, I got to the slumber party and we were having a good old time, and I had been there for maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, something like that. And then all of a sudden these guys showed up, and they were GIs, which means they were in the army. And they were hanging out with us at the slumber party. And some of the people at the slumber party commenced to making out with these GIs, and they were in the 7th grade.
And the GI should burn.
Yes. So, yeah, that was just one experience that I had. And I just remember that morning we had all stayed up that whole night. And I think right after the GIs had left, it was like 3:00 in the morning or something. We ran out here into this area, and we all sat down in the middle of the street. I don't know why. But it was this really, really busy street, and we just thought, we were so cool because we could run out there and sit in the middle of the street. So that's just one adventure I had in Lawton.
Wow. Yeah. Most of the adventures you tell me about, you'll laugh and you'll be like, "Oh, this is a interesting memory from my childhood." I'm like, "That sounds traumatic."
Yeah, so if you think about it, at 2, 3:00 in the morning, there's a hotel right there where all of this was going on at that time.
Anything could have happened, yeah.
Yes, all of these inns, and we were right here, sitting right here.
I'm just gonna say, with a lot of the things that your family participated in or found themselves around, you were exceedingly lucky, and
Oh,
as well as a lot of your cousins and everything for just not having gone through more than you already have.
totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Okay, so let me take that off. So, I'm gonna put them back on. And we're just doing a very brief overview of this. We're just trying to get you guys interested in it, to look up more information, to go and watch these videos and these podcasts. I actually linked a video in the description. It's called The Lawton Serial Killer. Watch that because it ties it to the West Mesa serial killing in New Mexico. But actually, we're going to get back to this. So the next victim was Janice Marie Buono. She was 29. She went missing on January 1st, 2002. About 7 weeks later, on February 21st, 2002, her remains were found in a pond under an old bridge a few miles outside of Lawton. Like the others, she was unclothed. She was Native American and a mother of 3. And she was also Comanche, I believe, from what I heard from the podcast. And she too had struggles with substance abuse and was involved in sex work along Cache Road. Her death was eventually attributed to a combination of meth and coke, and though no obvious external injuries. So all of these women, they're found in waterways or under bridges, naked, and usually a intoxication of some sort, an overdose of some sort. Hey,
So
Bubbles. See you.
I'd, huh?
Huh?
What were you saying?
I said, "Hey, Bubbles, good to see you." And then I said, most of the women who have been found to be victims of the serial killer have been found in waterways or under bridges or ditches, naked and having overdosed
So yeah, I was
on.
gonna say, so the cause of death in these cases are the overdoses. Did he overdose his victims,
We have
or
we have not been told that.
they don't say if
So
body
Mandy,
reasons or
I believe, was the first person that they had thought that she had an overdose, and then they somehow connected her to all of these murders.
wow.
Yeah. So, like I said, this is just a very brief introduction. We're just kind of going over it so everybody can get interested and know more about it. So, Pamela Woodring, 34, the last known victim in the series, she disappeared in late May 2003 and was found June 5th, 2003, in a creek under a country bridge in eastern Kiowa County. Like other victims, Woodring was naked when discovered. After her murder in 2003, this pattern of killings in the Lawton area appeared to cease. According to a lot of sources, it doesn't seem like it actually quit. So it was just more, they're not saying that everything is attributed to this. So we're not really sure what's going on here.
And how long have they even been implying there was a Lawton serial killer?
At least since 99.
And like as far as like they've been telling the public.
I think since about 99.
Really? I had never heard about it until you brought it up.
Well, I hadn't either, but I left Lawton in 99. So I left January of 99.
And back. So I was surprised you hadn't heard about it.
Yeah, I had left January of 99, but according to the podcast that we were just listening to and quite a few other sources, it sounds like it was happening as early as maybe even 91, 93.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but then again, there's a lot of people that come in and out of Lawton because of Fort Sill. So, I don't know. You get a lot of people in and out and a lot of crime and a lot of things happen. Okay. We also have a possible related victim, Rebecca Jean Boyd. Rebecca was not originally among the 5 known Cache Road cases, but her remains were found in proximity to one of the Lawton crime scenes. She disappeared in July 2002 after last being seen in Lawton and was reported missing by her family. In July 2005, a human skull was recovered in a field in Kiowa County, the same county that Pamela Woodring had been found in. And for 16 years, this unidentified victim was known only as Kiowa Jane Doe. In 2021, OSBI used DNA to identify the skull as Rebecca Jean Boyd. Boyd had lived in Muskogee, Oklahoma, but frequently visited family in Lawton, and she vanished during one such visit. OSBI agents suspect her death could be connected to the Cache Road murders, given the time and location, though they have not officially linked her case to the others as of yet. Now, you'll see that, like I said, Barbara Berry and Anastasia Running Wolf, they're not named in the original cases. So, but there's a lot of speculation that they are part of this pattern. Okay. So all of the confirmed victims were known to spend time along Cache Road, exchanging in survival sex work to support drug addictions. They often stayed at the inexpensive motels that once operated on Cache Road, many of which have since been torn down or replaced by new development. The killer's MO, as noted by investigators, involved targeting these vulnerable women, possibly luring or abducting them from the Cache Road area, and later dumping their bodies in secluded rural spots. Each was left nude, and in several cases, the level of decomposition or presence of drugs in their bodies made determining an exact cause of death difficult. Medical examiners found cocaine and other narcotics in all the 5 primary victims, suggesting the perpetrator may have given them drugs or taken advantage of their drug use. There were no gunshot or stab wounds reported publicly. Authorities have only stated that the women did not die of natural causes. This led to theories that some victims might have been killed by intentional overdose or asphyxiation, although officials have kept many details confidential. Law enforcement in Lawton quickly realized they were dealing with a serial killer. In 2002, the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation formally joined the case, with Agent Richard Goss leading the investigation. OSBI and local police interviewed hundreds of people and identified multiple persons of interest, but no one has ever been arrested or charged. Over the years, various suspect profiles have been considered. Early tips and theories range from a taxi cab driver who frequented the area to a local drug dealer or pimp preying on the women. However, none of these leads panned out definitively. Investigators have not publicly named any prime suspect, and they have kept an open mind that the crimes could be the work of either a lone offender or possibly a small group working together. So, I'm going to show you. This is the only sketch that they have of the serial killer that may or may not even be him. And I believe it's connected to Cassandra Ramsey's case. I believe somebody saw this man resembling him, or somebody resembling him near her or picking her up or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but it's very interesting that that's the only sketch that's ever been produced.
Look familiar to anybody that's watching? Look familiar to you, Mom?
It looks kind of similar to somebody that I know, but not that I would actually
Similar
say.
enough.
Yeah, it's not somebody that I would actually say, "Oh, that's him."
There's
Definitely
a person
not
that I
that.
have in my mind, but I'm not going to say it, and you don't say it, and I don't know if that's who you're thinking, but
It is.
someone that is involved in that kind of lifestyle, though. As far
Potentially,
as
yep.
some of the other stuff.
Potentially, yeah. But I don't know. It's just kind of interesting. But I do not believe that person is this person.
I
So.
don't think it's them either. But I do think that, unfortunately, like I said, with a lot of the people that your family hung around and a lot of the extracurricular activities that they participated in, I wonder if they have had any brush-ins with either some of the victims or, potentially even the killer himself.
Yeah. So, Bubbles, yes, most of the women actually knew each other. And if you go into the video that I posted in the description, I believe he talks about that in that video. And then you can also check out the podcast that we listened to earlier, which I will, once we're done, link it in the video description. But I couldn't, when I found this, I wasn't able to change it before the live stream. So I will edit it when we're done. Okay, so let's see. Okay, by 2004, these murders had faded from headlines, overshadowed in part by other cases. For example, a separate serial murder case along Interstate 40 by a different perpetrator was solved around that same time. The Lawton serial killings case eventually went cold, and in recent years, however, there has been a renewed push to solve it. OSBI officials emphasized in 2002, 2 decades after the first murders, that we never stop looking at this case. Investigators have resubmitted evidence for modern DNA and forensic testing, hoping advances in technology might yield new clues. They are also interviewing witnesses and even reaching out to prison inmates who might have heard something about the killings. And they have even implemented the cards, where they put pictures of victims on the cards for inmates to play with. So I'm actually going to play this video now.
I'm sorry, did you say they put victims' faces on cards for inmates to play? What did you say?
Yes, they put the victims' pictures on playing cards, on a deck of playing cards, so the inmates could play cards with them, and so they could gain tips and information.
Oh, so they put like unidentified or people that are okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Yep, they do that, Hakab. They've done that for a while. Okay, so let's present this one. Okay, we're gonna stop that. We're gonna remove that. Okay, let me know if you can hear it, Alora. I'm gonna play it right now.
Lawton's Cash Road.
Yeah,
now
I hear it.
Okay. Corridor of businesses and restaurants, but you don't have to look far for evidence of its much different past.
This is the area where our missing women went missing from. Many times this was the last place that they were seen.
Most of the budget motels are gone, replaced by fast food and retail stores. 5 women, maybe more, were killed under similar circumstances over a 4-year period 20 years ago. They were undressed and dumped in rural areas in or near water. All lived what OSBI called a high-risk lifestyle.
They were substance abuse users, and they supplemented their substance abuse by engaging in sex work. Some of them knew each other. They were all engaged in the same sex work in the same area.
There was Pamela
Which
Woodring,
does not make
found
them
in the water
any
off
less
100
valuable as
Eastern
people.
Kiowa County.
Correct. And I think that they're looking at that like that now, but when it first happened, it was the mentality that, they get what they get.
Well,
basically.
which is why it's like so important to bring, light to the fact that it's so many sex workers and, addicts and just people that are going through mental health issues, homelessness, stuff like that, sometimes you just get in a situation and you just can't control it after a certain point. And it's just really sad. And nobody, dependent on your situation, you still deserve justice. You still deserve love. You still deserve to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just really shitty to hear that.
I agree.
Rebecca Boyd, known as Kiowa County Jane Doe before OSBI identified her through a DNA match, was found a short distance away. OSBI suspects her case could be related to the other 5, but have not officially linked them. The others, Jane Marie Chafton, 28, found in August 1999.
I don't like that
Cassandra
they're
Lee
showing their
Ramsey,
mugshots.
25, found in March 2000. Mandy Ann Raite, 21, found in 2002. Janice Marie Buono, 29, found in February 2002. OSBI declined to say how the women were killed. Theories of the killer or killers range from a John or cab driver to a drug dealer, but none of them have panned out.
I think anything is open right now. We believe it's possible that it could be one person or a set of persons that committed these crimes.
He says agents have aggressively worked the cases.
They've interviewed hundreds of people, multiple persons of interest. We just haven't got the break that we need.
We reached out to family members we could find, but none responded. OSBI also has not spoken to the victims' families.
Since they've been gone for so long, and we want to make sure that they're not forgotten.
A break could be near, though. Francis recently resubmitted evidence to the lab, hoping 2 decades of improvements in DNA testing and other forensics could finally identify the killer.
The guy's been kind of 1-2 steps ahead of us for almost 20 years now, so we're hoping that the public or maybe a break and on the forensic side will help us close that gap.
The killer or killers could be free right now and never face justice for their crimes.
It's possible that the person is still local. It's possible that they've moved on. It's possible that they've been in prison since the last homicide on an unrelated case, and that's why they stopped. We're working off all possibilities right now.
Tips from the public could break the case.
We're pretty confident that somebody in that area that was around there that time has good information.
After 2 decades, the women need a champion.
They deserve to have their voices heard, and we are trying our best to be their voice.
Shelby Cashman, KOCO 5 News.
Shelby, thank you. And OSBI says they aren't out to arrest tipsters. They don't care about what they were doing around Cash Road 20 years ago. They just want to solve these murders.
Yeah.
So if anyone knows anybody that you even suspect might, have been in the area, just reach out to them, ask.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
So there is, like I said, maybe a connection to the West Mesa murders in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So I'm going to read this.
Between these and those?
Correct.
Okay. And how do they figure that?
Well,
since it's such a broad, because I don't even know if any of that, like just looking at the girls, just, I don't see a lot of similarities. A lot of times someone will have, a specific MO and, all the girls will look the same. The only thing that I can tell that they have in common is the fact that a lot of them know each other and they're struggling with homelessness, addiction, and are sex workers.
So I'm just going to read it to you and we'll find out together if it seems similar or if there's a connection. So one of the worst unsolved serial murder cases in New Mexico history is the West Mesa murders, sometimes dubbed the work of the West Mesa bone collector. The case came to light in February 2009 when a woman walking her dog on Albuquerque's West Mesa, a then undeveloped desert area on the edge of the city, discovered a human bone protruding from the dirt. Police were called to the scene, and over the next several weeks, they unearthed a mass grave site containing the skeletal remains of 11 female victims and 1 unborn child. The remains were scattered in shallow graves over a 92-acre tract of mesa land that had been intended for a housing development. It took nearly a year for forensic investigators to identify all of the victims. But by 2010, each set of remains had been matched to a missing person case. All 11 victims were women who had disappeared from the Albuquerque area between 2001 and 2005. The West Mesa victims shared many commonalities in their background. Most were young women in their 20s. The youngest were 2 15-year-old girls, and the oldest was 32. 10 of the 11 were of Hispanic descent, and all except 1 were local New Mexicans. They were known to frequent Albuquerque's war zone area, now renamed the International District, along Central Avenue, a neighborhood notorious for street prostitution and drugs. In fact, Albuquerque police detective Ida Lopez had noticed a pattern of missing women in the mid-2000s and had compiled a list of names, her girls, that included many who would later be found on the West Mesa. These women lived high-risk lifestyles. Most had histories of drug addiction and sex work, and several had prior prostitution arrests. The one victim who did not fit the local profile was Selenia Mimi Edwards, a 15-year-old African-American girl who was a runaway from Lawton, Oklahoma. Selenia Edwards was the only victim with ties outside of New Mexico. She had fled a group home in Lawton in 2003 and was known to have been in Denver and later working the streets in Aurora, Colorado in 2004. How she ended up in Albuquerque is unclear, but tragically, she was found buried on the West Mesa. Edwards was the youngest of the West Mesa victims and stood out as the one out-of-state runaway, underlying the possibility that interstate trafficking or travel may have played a role in this case. So there were 11 victims identified, And I will just go over their names real quick because it's important to know who they are. Jamie Barella, 15, last seen in April 2004 with her cousin Evelyn Salazar at a park in southeast Albuquerque. She was the final victim identified in 2010. Evelyn Salazar, 27, cousin of Jamie, disappeared with her in April of 2004. Monica, sorry, I don't have my glasses on. Monica Candelaria, 22, reported missing in 2003 from Albuquerque's South Valley. Victoria Chavez, 26, missing since 2003, identified among the remains in late 2009. Virginia Cloven, 24, missing since 2004, remains found and identified in 2009. Selania Edwards, 15, runaway from Oklahoma, last sighted in 2004, identified as a victim in late 2009. Cinnamon Elks, 32, an Albuquerque woman who vanished in 2004. She had multiple prostitution arrests and was acquainted with at least one of the other victims. Doreen Marquez, 24, a mother of two who went missing in 2003, known to frequent the same area of Albuquerque's Central Avenue. Julie Naito, 24, vanished in 2004. Her mother, Eleanor Grigo, was among the family members who would later advocate for the victims. Julie's name is one of the most memorialized in the West Mesa Park victim. Veronica Romero, 28, last seen in 2004, reported missing by family in early 2005. And Michelle Valdez, 22, missing since 2004, identified in 2009. She was 4 months pregnant at the time of her death, making the fetus the unofficial 12th West Mesa victim. So, I believe also, I know I read it somewhere, but Selania Edwards from Lawton, she actually, her cousin, it was a victim as well. And I can't remember which one it was, but I'm almost sure it was Michelle Valdez, which is the one that was pregnant. So, okay, I wanted to go over the different persons of interest. There are only a few, and remember, we've got this guy from the Lawton serial killer murders. There's also a man named Corey Dion Morris. He is called the crackhead killer, which is just terrible.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like the way they. Let's change that.
Yeah. We need to
let's
find a
change
better.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not cool. That's not
He
cool at
left
all.
Oklahoma in '99 and moved to Arizona. We also have Lorenzo Montoya for the West Mesa. And now there are other suspects that they go over in the Swedinia project. If you guys go to that, for the Lawton portion of it. So the only one that I had written down was Corey Dion Morris. But in the West Mesa, there's Lorenzo Montoya. Montoya was a local Albuquerque man who lived about 3 miles from the West Mesa burial site. Let's see. He had a history of soliciting sex workers and a violent streak. In 2006, around the time the West Mesa killings apparently stopped, Montoya was caught in the act of murdering a teenage sex worker in his trailer home, strangling her.
That is not a teenage sex worker if it was a child.
Yeah.
By the way, that is a victim. I mean, it's a victim no matter what, but oh my goodness. Sorry. I was just thinking about that because I was thinking about what you were saying earlier about the 15-year-old that passed away in New Mexico, you said? Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, no, you're good. He was shot dead by the woman's boyfriend in self-defense. Police noted eerie parallels. Montoya had been known for attempting to choke prostitutes in the past and A path of abandoned tire tracks led from the Mesa graves toward his residence area. After his death, the West Mesa dumping ceased. After Arizona Police Department Chief Greer said, "We lost Montoya, who I think was probably our best suspect. He lived a very short distance from the burial zone. Because Montoya is deceased, investigators have no way to directly confirm his involvement, but many in law enforcement view him as the most likely culprit." Okay, we've got Joseph Blea, another Albuquerque man. Blea had a record of rape and violence in the early 2000s. Vice units reportedly saw Blea cruising the East Central Avenue corridor and picking up workers. In 2015, he was convicted in several SA cases unrelated to the West Mesa and received a 90-year prison term. Within the West Mesa investigation, some of Blea's own personal items, like tree tags from a nursery, were oddly found in the area of the burial site, but no direct evidence. Blea has denied any involvement, and while he remains a person of interest, he has never been charged in connection with the West Mesa murders. And then we've got, at one point, police released photos of several unidentified women, possibly taken by the killer, hoping to learn their identities. That lead did not ultimately solve the case. Another individual investigated was Ron Irwin, a photographer from Joplin, Missouri, who frequently traveled to Albuquerque for the state fair, which coincides with the time some victims went missing. Irwin had taken many photos around the city. In 2010, authorities searched his properties and seized items, but nothing conclusively linked him to the murders, and he was not charged. Beyond individual suspects, police have considered that the murders might have been connected to a wider criminal network. One theory posits that a sex trafficking ring or organized group could be responsible rather than a single killer. This theory arose from an anonymous tip that linked the crimes to a suspect from El Salvador and suggested the involvement of a multi-state trafficking operation targeting workers during big events in the Southwest. Some investigators have speculated that multiple people, i.e. pimp, boss, hired killer, and accomplices, could have worked together in abducting and disposing of the victims. However, concrete evidence of a trafficking conspiracy has not been publicly presented. It remains an avenue of investigation, especially given that many victims knew each other and operated in the same circles, a circumstance that could indicate they fell prey to the same network of criminals. And that was the same in the Lawton case. Most of those women knew each other in some form or fashion. So,
There's
see.
probably a very obvious suspect that just people aren't realizing. It's probably someone that they all might have even known.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. I'm trying to look. I've got tons and tons of notes here, so I'm trying to figure out which ones I want to read to you guys. Yeah, no, I think that's it for now. I think we'll call it for tonight. But I just kind of wanted to introduce everybody to the Cash Road killings and let everybody know that this is something that I'm working on, trying to find out more information about. I have sent an email to the people at Swedinia Project to let them know, that I'm interested in collabing with them or learning more about what they know. And so hopefully I get some information from them. And then we also have Amanda Newland, who should be coming on from Oklahoma Cold Cases. And so we will try to bring you more information about this case and what it involves. But it caught my attention not only because of the fact that I'm from Lawton, but because of Mandy Raite. And so hopefully in the near future, I will be able to share more about her. So that's all I got tonight.
Just let the victims never be forgotten. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, I did forget, since I'm going to take that off now. So I did forget that this week I am going to be creating a channel for the women at Chillicothe Women's Correction Center here in Missouri. There are 6 or 7 women that are involved in a project with Rasmussen. No, not Rasmussen. Rockhurst University. I don't know why I said Rasmussen.
Rockhurst. Yeah, I don't know.
So yes, it is in conjunction with Rockhurst University. And they have recorded, I believe, 4 episodes already. I was not able to go to Chillicothe because they were having some issues. Hopefully, eventually, I will be able to get there and be boots on the ground, meeting the women and speaking to them and everything. But as of now, I'm just speaking to one person who is incarcerated there and about this project, and that is Vermont Roberts, or also known as Velma Roberts. And the podcast is going to be called Not Just a Number. And I think that we're going to learn a lot of really great things about these women, and hopefully the 4 episodes will catch on and people will want to hear more from them and learn, and I am, trying to advocate for these women to show you that they are human beings, and that even though they have done some really horrible stuff or have gotten caught in situations in which they have made horrible decisions, they are still people, and they are still worth our time and our effort to care about. Absolutely. And so hopefully by Friday I will have that up and running, and but we won't have the actual episodes downloaded yet, not on Friday, but I wanted to establish the channel, and I wanted to hype everybody up for the upcoming episodes. So I'm excited about that. So thank you, Hakab and Bubbles, and let's see who else. Main Chick Carrie and Shorty Pie. And let's see. I know I saw somebody earlier. Francie Fran. I wish you had been in here. I would have liked to have had you come up here and talk, because you said that you are familiar with Cache and Comanche County. And I would love to hear your perspective on it, because as a local, I know my perspective. I don't know if you're a local, though. So
absolutely. Also, a big shout out to anybody on the replay crew that might be rewatching this. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much. And we just hope that everybody has a very blessed week and a very blessed night, and that you go out and do something really great to make the world a better place. And I'm starting by helping veterans, and now by helping the women at Chillicothe. And so I hope that inspires you to do something as well.
Which is awesome. Also, just a little unrelated note as we head out of here. In the spirit of remembering those that are no longer with us, it's my best friend's birthday today. And unfortunately, he was a veteran that, lost his life and took his own life. And just want to remember my really good friend, Tim, and say that I just love him. Several years removed. I will never forget the man.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you to everyone for tuning in. I just wanted to add that little thing. Oopsie, but I hope everyone has a great night.
No, I do too. Have a blessed night, everyone. Thank you, Laura.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.